Imagine placing just $100 into an investment. You leave it untouched. You don't add thousands of dollars every month. You don't become a stock market genius. You simply stay patient. Years later, that small amount has grown into something far bigger than you ever imagined. Sounds impossible? Yet this is exactly how many of the world's greatest fortunes were built. Not through luck, not through winning the lottery, and not by making one perfect investment. Instead, they relied on a simple principle that grows quietly in the background, while most people ignore it. A principle so powerful that it has been called the eighth wonder of the world. It's known as the Snowball Compound Effect. So what makes this idea so extraordinary? Why do investors like Warren Buffett believe time is often more valuable than talent? And how can ordinary people use this same principle to build wealth over the long term? Let's find out. When most people think about becoming wealthy, they imagine earning a higher salary, starting a successful business, or finding the next big investment. But history tells a different story. Many of the world's wealthiest investors didn't become rich because they earned the most money. They became rich because they allowed their money to grow for decades. That's the true power of compounding. It's slow at first, almost invisible. Then suddenly, it seems to grow faster than anyone expected. By the end of this video, you'll understand what the Snowball Compound Effect really is, why it has created enormous fortunes throughout history, the mistakes that stop most people from benefiting from it, and how you can begin using this principle in your own financial journey. If you enjoy videos about investing, business, money, and building long-term wealth, make sure to subscribe because we upload videos like this every week. But before we talk about investing, we first need to understand why compounding is compared to a snowball rolling down a hill, because that simple image explains almost everything. Why is it called the snowball effect? Imagine standing on top of a snowy mountain. You make a tiny snowball with your hands and gently push it downhill. At first, almost nothing happens. The snowball is small, it rolls slowly. You might even think it isn't growing at all. But as it continues rolling, something changes. It starts collecting more snow. That extra snow makes it heavier. Because it's heavier, it rolls faster. As it rolls faster, it gathers even more snow. Soon, the tiny snowball has become a massive ball of snow, many times larger than where it started. Money can work in exactly the same way. When you invest, your money earns returns. Then, instead of spending those returns, you leave them invested. Now, your original investment earns money. But your profits also begin earning profits. Over time, those gains generate even more gains. This creates a cycle that becomes stronger every year. In the beginning, progress feels painfully slow. That's why many people quit too early. They expect dramatic results within months, but compounding rewards patience, not impatience. Years of small progress can eventually become decades of extraordinary growth. This is why investors often say that the hardest part of investing isn't choosing great stocks. It's simply staying invested long enough for compounding to work. But if compounding is so powerful, why doesn't everyone become wealthy? The answer has very little to do with intelligence, and almost everything to do with human behavior. Why most people never experience compounding. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that wealth is created overnight. Social media constantly shows luxury cars, expensive vacations, million-dollar businesses, an overnight success story. What it rarely shows is the 20 or 30 years that came before those achievements. Compounding doesn't look exciting. It doesn't create instant results. In fact, during the early years, growth can feel disappointingly small. That's exactly why many investors give up. Some panic during market crashes. Others withdraw their investments for short-term spending. Many try to chase the newest trend, hoping for quick profits. Every time they interrupt the process, they reset the snowball. Instead of allowing it to grow larger, they start all over again. Successful investors understand something different. They know that consistency often beats brilliance. Making regular investments, reinvesting returns, ignoring short-term market noise, and giving time a chance to do its work. These habits may appear ordinary, but over decades, they can produce extraordinary outcomes. That's why discipline is often more valuable than prediction. You don't need to know what the market will do tomorrow. You simply need a strategy you can follow for many years. Think about this. If someone offered you $1 million today, or one penny that doubles every day for 30 days, which would you choose? Most people immediately pick the $1 million. It sounds obvious, but mathematically, the penny becomes worth more than $5 million by the end of the month. That's the surprising power of exponential growth. And it's exactly how compounding works. It looks insignificant until suddenly it doesn't. So if time is the secret ingredient, Who has used this principle better than almost anyone else? The answer takes us to one of history's greatest investors, how Warren Buffett turned compounding into a fortune. When people hear about, they often focus on one number, his net worth. But here's what many people don't realize. Most of his wealth wasn't created because he found one magical investment. It was created because he gave his investments time to compound. Buffett started investing as a child. He bought his first stock when he was only 11 years old. He spent decades learning, investing, making mistakes, and staying patient. For many years, his wealth grew steadily, but not dramatically. Then something remarkable happened. As the years passed, compounding began accelerating, and the returns from previous investments started generating even larger returns. Those larger returns produced even more growth. The snowball kept getting bigger. Today, financial experts often point out that a large percentage of Buffett's fortune was built after the age of 60. Not because he suddenly became smarter, not because he changed his strategy, but because he allowed time to multiply the results of decades of disciplined investing. His story teaches an important lesson. Compounding doesn't reward people who start perfectly. It rewards people who stay consistent. You don't need millions of dollars to begin. You simply need to begin. Because the earlier you start, the more time your snowball has to grow. So, if compounding can build incredible wealth, can it also work against you? Unfortunately, yes. And many people experience negative compounding without even realizing it. The hidden side of compounding. Compounding is neutral. It doesn't only grow investments, it can also grow debt. Imagine carrying a credit card balance with a high interest rate. Every month, interest is added. If you don't pay it off, the next month's interest is calculated on a larger balance. Then the process repeats again. Over time, debt begins growing just like an investment, but in the wrong direction. That's why financial experts often recommend paying off high-interest debt before focusing on investing. The same principle applies to daily habits. Reading a few pages every day may not seem life-changing. Exercising for 30 minutes might not transform your health overnight. Learning one new skill each week may feel insignificant, but over months and years, these small actions compound into major improvements. The opposite is also true. Small, unhealthy habits repeated every day can gradually create serious long-term problems. The snowball compound effect begins with something small, a single investment, one good habit, one smart financial decision. At first, the progress seems almost invisible, but with patience, consistency, and enough time, small gains begin creating larger gains. Those larger gains continue building upon themselves until growth becomes surprisingly powerful. That's why compounding has been called the eighth wonder of the world. Not because it's mysterious, but because it transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary results over long periods. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more videos about investing, business, money, and building long-term wealth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.